Hello and thanks for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, Seaborne Airlines makes its first official flight to Dominica. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit discusses the OECS Assembly's first sitting in Antigua last week, and Dominica welcomes a new Serbian ambassador. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after the break.
Listen closely and you will hear what climate change might sound like. Hurricanes getting stronger and more frequent. Glaciers melting, causing a rise in sea levels. Dry bush burning after a prolonged drought left the bushes vulnerable to fires.
What? No water again?
But listen closely again and you will hear the solutions. People switching to energy-saving light bulbs. People building stronger homes that can withstand hurricane force winds. Our climate may be changing, but so can we. Making small changes together can have a huge effect on reducing the impacts of climate change. Act now. Rally. Rethink. Respond. This message is brought to you by the OECS Secretariat with funded assistance from USAID.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, in an exclusive interview with GIS News on Tuesday, spoke about the relevance of the OECS Parliament meeting. The first sitting of its kind took place in Antigua on March 26, 2013. Prime Minister Skerrit believes that in order for the OECS body to move forward, it is important for all heads of government to meet at a regional level.
This assembly is created under the Economic Union Treaty. I would believe it's important for us to be able to meet at the regional level as parliamentarians to discuss issues which are of grave and great importance to the region. And what is more critical is that the hope is that we can set aside our own national, domestic, partisan politics and leave it on the tarmac in our respective countries and look at the region from a global standpoint, because it is important that we work together to create a better way of life for all our citizens in the OECS. I also believe that it is important for us to have the Assembly to serve as a peer review of the successes we have had so far, but also the challenges which we're experiencing, and in cases where respective national governments have not implemented certain aspects of the treaty, that can be drawn to the attention at the Assembly level and some kind of commitment given towards a timetable or a deadline by which they would address those issues.
The Prime Minister gave details of some of the issues that were tabled at that meeting.
So far, so good, so to speak. We were able to look at the issue of the free movement of people within the OECS under the Economic Union Treaty. A number of very important issues came up, and challenges and concerns. Clearly in Dominica's case, there is legislation which we have to put in place. But that notwithstanding, people have been enjoying the benefit of moving freely and coming in out of Dominica since August of 2011 with no hindrances. So the meeting discussed that particular point, and the number of important issues which came up which we have to continue addressing even outside of the Parliament.
Given the world's economic challenges, Prime Minister Skerrit says no one country can face the issues alone, and so the OECS Parliament is critical in that respect. He made reference to the Clico-Bico matter.
The most important thing is for us to maintain a very a regionalist approach, an integrationist approach towards matters to be discussed at the Assembly, and to draw to the Assembly our own national issues, whether it's from an economic standpoint, what can we do together to overcome certain challenges, because the present day realities of the world is such that no one country can address its issues by itself. And the matters relating to Clico and Bico are clear. I mean, had we decided to work on our own individual regulators, there's no way we would have been able to save and secure the investments of so many more citizens. And already we've made tremendous payments Later this year, we'll be making additional payments under the BICO arrangement. So we've had great successes, and we look forward to even more profound discussions at the assembly level.
GIS News will bring you more on this interview in a subsequent newscast. GIS News spoke with Dominica's OECS Commissioner, Ambassador Felix Gregoire, who attended the first sitting of the OECS Parliament, and he discussed his role as representative in the process.
Under the revised Treaty of Basse, there is an organ established called the Commission. The Commission is responsible for supervising the work of the OECS Secretariat. And the Commission acts like a board of directors, would make proposals to the OECS authority, which is made up of the heads of state. And the decisions taken by the OECS authority are to be implemented in an efficient manner, and the Commission's role is to ensure that these decisions are taken. So with respect to the OECS Assembly, whatever decisions were taken there would be communicated to the authority, the OECS authority. And once these are approved by the authority, then these have to be implemented. And the Commission's role is to ensure that those decisions are implemented.
So you're a member of the Commission?
I'm the Dominica Commissioner to the OECS. So I have to operate as a member of the Commission of the OECS and at that level. And also nationally, I have to operate to ensure that decisions are implemented in Dominica.
Ambassador Gregoire further explained that his attendance at that meeting served to give him and others a clearer understanding of the decisions taken to aid in local implementation. To the question of whether Dominicans are sufficiently aware of the workings of the OECS and its operations, the ambassador responded that more work can be done both locally and regionally. In that vein, says Mr. Gregoire, plans are in place to intensify public education on the subject.
My role is to step up so we can launch that program as soon as possible. And I've done quite a bit of work already, and I need to do more, because I'm not going to do this alone. It's going to be in consultation and collaboration with other persons. So, but basically I have prepared a draft document to move forward with.
He further listed the items on that agenda.
We will be targeting the population at large. So we will be looking at the television, having television programs, radio programs. We will have discussions or consultations in schools with the youth groups that's outside of school. We have the National Youth Council. They have agreed to assist us in that regard. We will look at church groups, sporting associations, political parties, and the unions. We will have to discuss with the unions, and most importantly, the private sector. We have the Hotel Association, DAIC, Manufacturers Association. We have other private sector persons whom will be Tourism Association. We will be looking at the private sector, because the private sector has to benefit from the economic union.
Ambassador Gregoire is optimistic about the results and the partnerships expected to arise from the planned awareness program.
It's something that will be done in such a way that it will be exciting and will attract the imagination of the general public. As I said, it's going to be a collaborative effort, and the assembly itself, the delegations are made up of parliamentarians from the government side and the opposition side. And the leader of the opposition, Honorable Hector, has agreed that he will assist in this exercise. So this is the kind of unity that we expect to have so that the economic union can succeed. All of us must work together. And we are going to ensure that we capture this, and then when we present the program for public awareness, that we involve everybody.
In more news, the government of Serbia has appointed Her Excellency Marina Petrovic as its first ambassador to Dominica. The ambassador presented her credentials to President of Dominica, His Excellency Eliud Williams, on March 27, 2013. She spoke of her country's wishes to contribute to the further development of relations with Dominica.
Many open subjects and many fields that can be discussed and try to improve or try to find fact-finding mission for better relations. And also in the field of the international arena, there are many things that too we can have to discuss. The fight against crime, the terrorism, how to gather food supplies, how to fight or at least try to make it easier regarding the climate warming. Europe feels it, but the countries of Caribbean or island countries as well, and much more than we do. And many other subjects that are very important that have been discussed at the international level, international forums. And all those are the tasks that me as an ambassador now have the obligation to continue and to start, and all my future colleagues.
President Williams is very optimistic that there will be growing relations between Dominica and the Republic of Serbia as a result of that appointment of the first ambassador.
It is my expectation that during your term of office you will work to continue to strengthen these relations and to see how we might be able to build on whatever initiatives that have already been taken, and particularly to be able to use the resources and expertise of your country in the areas of energy, capacity building and training. And also I notice that you're very strong in terms of generic drug procurement and as well as information technology. These are all areas which would be of interest to us. We have also in the past provided support to your country in the international arena, and would look forward to continue to do so whenever it is possible.
And finally, this news time, Dominica's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. David Johnson, chaired a workshop last week to develop a national policy on the management of non-communicable diseases. Dr. Johnson, in his opening statements, remarked on the status of the local fight against chronic non-communicable diseases.
There has been a greater recognition that CNCDs can only be successfully prevented and controlled by an all-of-society approach. This implies that CNCD is far too big for the health sector alone to deal with. Indeed, a lot of those things that drive the CNCD epidemic are, in fact, literally speaking, outside of the direct scope of the health sector. And you would agree with me that sedentary lifestyle and poor eating habits, which contribute to alarming statistics of obesity, the implications from the use of tobacco, and the socioeconomic conditions of our persons, they all lie outside of the direct influence of the health sector, but are major contributors to our health sector problems, and are killing people and are causing tremendous suffering among our population.
It was highlighted at the workshop that productive partnerships are one way of ensuring progress in the management of non-communicable diseases, or NCDs, like cancer, diabetes, hypertension, and others. Dr. Johnson commented on the importance of continued efforts by Dominica to minimize the number of NCD cases on the island.
Countries like Dominica are required to give high priority to the prevention and control of NCDs and include policies on NCD as an integral part of the component of social protection policies, as well as national and health development plans. Ladies and gentlemen, we are required to strengthen our multi-sectoral partnership and mechanisms, which I think we're doing well in Dominica, but we're required to strengthen those relationships to promote greater dialogue and partnership in the fight against CNCDs, which are causing, as I said, havoc in Dominica.
The health official listed the issues which will be considered in the development of the NCD policy.
We must ensure that the policy reflects some of the core principles championed by PAHO in its strategic plan of action for the prevention and control of NCDs. Some of these include ensuring that we adopt an all-of-society approach with a clear emphasis on health promotion, education, and prevention, as well as early detection, timely treatment, and quality of care for persons who already have NCDs or who display warning signs in terms of the presence of the risk factors. Our policy, therefore, should also ensure that we reorient our health services based on the chronic care model, something that Dr. Tomo is championing, and we in the Ministry of Health have taken on board. And recognize that patient is also an expert, and I repeat that the patient is also an expert in managing his condition. Our policy must also pay special attention in providing training and retraining and capacity building for all of us.
The meeting was attended by Dr. Tomo Kanda, NCD advisor with the Pan American Health Organization. Dr. Johnson therefore commended PAHO's interest in collaborating with Dominica's Ministry of Health to facilitate the policy development workshop. That workshop was attended by Ministry of Health officials and stakeholders, along with representatives of non-governmental organizations. And that's all for the English news. Coming up next, why you should make more of an effort to eat local.
Listen closely and you will hear what climate change might sound like.
$30 for a hand of bananas?
Severe drought could destroy banana plants and drive food prices up.
And now we can see the dead coral reef below us.
Dead coral? I thought it was alive.
No, it's dead. If you look at the pictures, you can see what the coral used to look like.
Oh, wow.
Natural wonders like coral reefs are disappearing. But listen closely again, and you can hear the solution. People disposing of garbage responsibly and not in drains and rivers. People responsibly discarding engine oil. Our climate may be changing, but so can we. Making small changes together can have a huge effect on reducing the impacts of climate change. Act now. Rally, rethink, respond. This message is brought to you by the OECS Secretariat with funded assistance from USAID.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day, only on GIS Channel 7.
We often hear that we should eat what we grow, and while that's true, we should know why eating local is so important. One reason is that local foods usually have less environmental impact. Shipping foods from thousands of miles away leads to a big carbon footprint for a small can of fruit. Look for farmers who follow organic and sustainable growing practices and energy use to minimize your food's environmental impact. And that's all for National Focus today. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on Facebook and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.